Hi, it's Trina here from The Beautiful Entrepreneur, and I am on here today to talk to you about how to start a podcast. So recently I started up a podcast. It was something that I had wanted to do for a really long time. I've been a small business owner for a while and owned a couple of businesses, and I always enjoyed connecting with other people and sharing things that I've learned. So I thought that I would jump on here today. I know there's a lot of people that have been thinking about starting a podcast and just don't know where to start. So this is my first live video for my 3-part series. So starting today, Monday at 3 p.m., tomorrow, Tuesday at 3 p.m., and the final video will be Friday at 9 a.m. So please join me. I will also save the video for you to refer back to it later. So yeah, jumping right into it. Why would you want to start a podcast? Many people listen to podcasts nowadays when they're cleaning the house or maybe stuck in traffic. And I know a lot of business coaches say that video is the best way to reach people now, and that people would rather watch you on video to be able to have that connection with you. But it's not always practical to be watching a video. A lot of times people want to multitask and want to be learning or entertained. And there's a number of reasons why they would like to listen to a podcast. So also, if you have created videos, you could also convert it into an audio file and turn it into a podcast if you wanted to reuse some of your content. I know a lot of business coaches that do this when they provide informational live videos. They can convert it into an audio file and put it on their podcasts to reach other people. So maybe you have a business, maybe that's why you want to have a podcast, you want to reach more people and use it as a platform. Maybe you're in politics and want to reach people interested in that. Or maybe you have a passion or a hobby that you wanted to share with someone else. So let's just get down to this here. I just made myself some notes, so I'm just going to check over here. So today what we're going to be focusing on is number 1, how to choose a host provider. I myself chose Audio Acrobat just because it was recommended to me by another business coach, and she said that it was awesome. And so far it's been super easy to use, so that's the one that I use. I will also post for you guys. There's a number of other hosting providers that you can use, and I'll link to that after this video. So you will need to have a hosting provider so you have somewhere to store your files. Absolutely necessary. You will have to. So next would be to decide what your podcast is going to be about. Are you going to use it as a business tool? So maybe you're a business coach and you want to talk about mindset and maybe how to reach your goals. So they can definitely be a great tool and a platform for you to reach your ideal client. So next up, we're going to talk about your target audience, because that's very important. So based on what you're willing to teach and talk about and connect with people on, you need to ask yourself these 3 questions. Who is my ideal client, or who's the person that I'm trying to reach? What problem do they have, and what solution are they looking for? So this will help you work backwards and plan your content from that point of view. You'll be met with a good result if you do it that way, because if you can provide solutions to people's problems, that will keep them tuning in to you, and in the long run it will result in a list of subscribers and people who tune into you, hopefully weekly, if that's as often as you're putting out podcasts. You'll reach more people if what you're speaking about provides value. So that's something to keep in mind. And there's many different ways to provide value. You could even be a comedian, and maybe your value that you're providing people is that you're allowing them to relax and laugh and let go of the stress. So don't be stressed out if you think that providing value is just by teaching people things, because that's not always the case. So let's talk about naming your podcast. There's a couple of things to consider when you're going to be naming your podcast. And keep in mind that if you decide to change your podcast name later on, you can do so. So that's not a big deal. If you are already established on other social media channels and have a name already, you might want to consider just using that one because it will make it easier for people to find you and more of a consistency for your brand. If you don't already have a following, you may want to consider what is it that you're going to be talking about, what's your brand going to be about, and the genre that you're in. So for example, maybe you're a fitness coach and you plan on talking about health, wellness, and weight loss. You may want to choose a name that reflects that. It will also make it easier for people to find you, because when people are searching for a podcast, they'll usually put in topics that they're interested in. So maybe someone's put in the topic weight loss, and so if your name is The Way to Healthy Weight Loss, you're going to pop up, and hopefully they'll click on you to listen. So either way, choose a name that will be intriguing, self-explanatory, and definitely consider that, because a lot of times people will decide whether they're going to listen to your podcast based on your name, and also the picture art that you choose, and we'll talk about that in a later episode. Next, how long should your episode be? I've seen episodes as little as 5 minutes, which is perfect if you're just wanting to be giving people daily inspiration or weekly inspiration. And I've seen them go up to an hour and a little bit more. I would worry less about maybe the length of the episode and more about the quality of the content and how you're getting your message across to people. So if it's too long, people might lose their attention span. But if you're interviewing a guest, you can go a little bit longer versus if you're just talking by yourself, because generally a conversation is more dynamic and a little bit more interesting for a longer period of time for people. If you have a topic that may take over an hour, you could consider breaking it up into multiple episodes, and that way it'd be a little bit easier for people to digest the information. How often should you release episodes? You can do it, or should do it, as often as a week if you're trying to make an impact and grow your list of subscribers and listeners, because if you're giving them new content every week, that's enough time for them not to forget about you, to still have on their mind whatever it was that you were discussing in the previous week. And any longer than a week, and people might have, they're not thinking about you, and they might have even moved on to another podcaster in the meantime. Most people who listen to podcasts probably listen to about 4 to 5 different podcast people on a regular basis. So yeah, try to also release your episodes on the same day every week. So if you've done it on a Thursday, try to do it every Thursday. And then that way people have something to look forward to, and that consistency, they will come to appreciate that. And then they know that your episode comes out every Thursday. They're going to tune in for sure. So that's it for today. Just to go over again, what we talked about was why you may want to start a podcast, choosing a host provider. I use Audio Acrobat, like I said, but I'm going to list I'm going to have a list of many other hosting companies that you can use. So also to decide what your podcast is going to be about, deciding who your ideal listener is going to be, planning content that provides value and solves your listeners' problems, etc. Things to consider when naming your podcast, how long an episode should be, and how often you should be releasing episodes. So thanks for listening, and tune in again tomorrow at 3 p.m. to learn about how to actually record your podcast, what equipment you will need and what you could pass on, how to get guests to interview, and recording and editing. So thank you very much for tuning in, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.